Yo, what's up everyone? This video we're going to be talking a little bit about classes and objects. Now this is not the start of our deep dive of object-oriented programming. This is considered an introduction so that we can start talking about some more complex programming concepts because basically we've been working with a lot of methods and a lot of objects, and I just want to make sure that you have that fundamental knowledge needed to really understand why we're coding things the way we are. Hopefully this video will help progress your understanding of object-oriented programming, which is a huge piece of software development. This will often come up in interviews, so it's really important to know. And if you really want to start practicing interviews, I'd highly recommend our sponsor, Pramp. So if you're looking for a place to help your interview skills, Pramp is going to make it happen. I challenge you to go to their site, sign up, and give it one try. I promise you're not going to be disappointed because at the end of your first session, you are going to have your first interview practice done, and you're going to get feedback from another individual who can objectively measure your skills and your capability to articulate what you're trying to do in code. Pramp is great if you're looking for hands-on practice with interviews. I'll leave a link for you guys in the description. Be sure to check them out. Now, let's jump into some object-oriented programming. We see the basic structure of object-oriented programming already just from what we have here, and we actually don't even need this line here. So we have a class, and in this class we have a method. So we're going to basically copy this format here, but a little bit different in a brand new class, and classes are often used to basically set the structure for something you might want to represent. So for example, you might want to represent people, you might want to represent users, you might want to represent transactions, you might want to represent animals. Whatever it may be, all of these things can be represented inside of a class. If you have any experience with Excel or databases, you can kind of think of a class as the column headers, right? It kind of defines the structure of each row, and then an object is going to be an instance of that structure. So an object would be the equivalent of each row with individual values. So the best way to see this is to just go through an example. So let's create a new class. Over here on our application, we can right click, hover over new, and click class. We're going to name this user with a capital U. By convention, class names start with an uppercase. When we created our first class, I told you to check this public static void main. In this situation, you're not going to check that. That's because you only want one main method per program. That's where your application starts. So just keep it as user and click finish. So inside of here, we can put all of the members of this class. These members are usually going to be methods and properties. And there's some details that once we get into object-oriented programming you should know about. For example, there's fields and then special methods called getters and setters for these fields, and there's constructors and all kinds of stuff, but you don't need to get into all that. The main thing you need to know is that when we create a variable inside of this user class and make that publicly accessible, it's known as a property. So I can go in here and I could say public string name, just like this. In the outside world, we can create an instance of a user and set the name property. So let's do that. Let's go back to our main method. In here, we could say user, give it a name. We'll just call it user with a lowercase u, and then say new user, just like that. And now we should be able to access this property name and set that equal to Caleb Curry, for example. So the process we just went through of creating a new user will become second nature over time, but you may just want to practice it. So practice creating a class, instantiating a class into an object called user in this case, and then setting the properties to some value. So that is an example of setting a property. Now let's go through an example of a method. So inside a user, what we're going to do is we're going to say public, and this is going to return a string, and it's going to be get full name. And then you're going to put parentheses and then curly braces. Now whether you put these curly braces like this or like this, that's totally up to you. Just try to be consistent. All right, now we're going to break up name into first name and last name. So I'm going to have first name, and then we're going to have another one for last name. Okay, cool. So now back in our sweet program, we need to change this to user.firstname. Okay, cool. Back to user. Inside of this method, we could say return first name plus last name. This will combine them, but it's not going to put a space between them, so you might want to put a space string like that. So now we can call this, we could say in our main method, we could set our last name, so we could say user.lastname equals Curry, and then we could call that method, and we're going to put it inside of a system out because it's going to return a string. And then we just say user dot get full name, just like that. And we run the program and we get Caleb Curry. So that is the basic process of creating properties and methods. It can get very complicated, so don't be overwhelmed. Basically what I wanted to show you is this is the comparison to the methods we've been calling on strings, for example. So when we do something like string x equals hello, and then we say x dot whatever it may be, well, this is the equivalent to user dot whatever it may be. So just like we have a method on user get full name, we have x dot char at, and this is going to return a character, just like ours is going to return a string. The actual act of creating it, well, we're going to get into that in a lot of detail in the upcoming videos, so I wouldn't worry about that too much. But basically the main things you need to understand is that these need to be public in order for us to change them in another class, and our get full name needs to return something because we're putting this string here, which is saying, hey, we're going to be returning a string. These here I called properties. You may also hear the term field, which is just a private variable. So if I did string say food, for example, well, in this scenario, this would be a field, not a property. And we're going to get into all the details of object-oriented programming soon, so don't worry about that too much. That's all I got for you guys. Hopefully that was a good introduction to creating properties and methods inside of classes, how to instantiate those classes into objects, and then how to change the values of the properties and call the methods. This might be a little bit of a deep dive into programming for you, so if it's a little bit challenging, just watch this video again and just go through the coding exercise with me, and it'll be all good. In the next video, we're going to take a step back and learn some more of the basic programming structures, so definitely check that out. And if you've been enjoying the series, I just ask that you subscribe. It truly helps out my channel, and I would be really appreciative. Thanks, guys. Also check out the description for links to the Java crash course, the notes, and our sponsor. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next video.